banging in Brooklyn, grinding in Greenpoint, doing work in Williamsburg, and occasionally making moves in Manhattan. We are Fight Fuel MMA.
We got a lot to talk about, starting with Saturday night's UFC Vegas 5 card. With all the shakeups around it, did it still deliver?
Derek Brunson derails the Edmund Shabazian hype train.
Did Jennifer Maia steal JoJo Calderwood's title shot?
Dana White has strong words regarding the Herb Dean Dan Hardy altercation.
And did Dana White push Paige VanZant right out the door to Bare Knuckle FC?
Let's get into it. Saturday night's UFC Vegas 5 card went off without a hitch. Except it didn't. The card was a mess. Fighters were getting pulled for illness. Fighters were passing out on their walk to the octagon. Everybody got kicked in the dick. It was a mess, but the card was still good, and all the fights still delivered.
Yes. We're going to start off with the main event. Derek Brunson versus Edmund Shabazian.
That was a good fight.
It's a really good fight. So Brunson got the job done. Third round TKO after a very questionable ending to the second round because it looked like Herb Dean waved off the fight, but he was just coming in between them to stop it. But it was very could have been stopped because, let's face it, Shabazian was pretty much knocked out by the end of the second round.
After he was in his corner, he comes out for the third. They're asking if he wants to come out. Herb Dean calls a timeout, calls the doctor in. The doctor, he's talking to Shabazian. He's seeing if he's still there. Shabazian says, yes, I want to continue. I think in reality, Shabazian did not want to fight anymore, but he did not want to quit. The end came mercifully quick in the third round. A few shots by Brunson put Shabazian down, and Herb Dean waved the fight off. And I will say, the way Dean stopped this fight, by the book. He waited till the end of round 2, made sure the fighter got to his corner. He wasn't sure if the fighter could continue. Herb Dean called the doctor in, covering his ass, also doing the right thing. So I saw some people calling for Dean to have stopped the fight at the end of the second, but Herb Dean really did everything by the book.
The second you saw Shabazian turn his back, you knew he was out of the fight. He was just done. Brunson did the work. And Dana White explained it perfectly in the post-fight press conference. He looked amazing. His conditioning was there. His experience showed. Okay, moving on. Co-main event. Jennifer Maia taking on Joanne Calderwood. Now, Joanne Calderwood was supposed to fight Valentina Shevchenko back in June. Shevchenko had to pull out because of injury. Joanne Calderwood still wanted to fight. Very commendable on her. She took on a very dangerous opponent in Jennifer Maia, which I think a lot of people were sleeping on Jennifer Maia, myself included. I thought Joanne Calderwood was going to take this, but man, Jennifer Maia just showed why she is in the division and why she is at the top.
What Joanne Calderwood needs to take after this fight are more jiu-jitsu classes. I was pulling for JoJo to win, but this fight just highlights the danger of taking a fight when you do have a guaranteed title shot. Now, there's nothing that says that the UFC won't just pull that title shot that was promised to you anyway, but Dana White was lauding her fighting spirit because she took the fight. She doesn't want to sit on the sidelines. Now this happened. Now guess what? She's not fighting Valentina Shevchenko. I don't know if that's a bad thing, because if Maia did this to her, I would imagine Shevchenko would do something worse. Hopefully Calderwood goes back to the gym, works on the jiu-jitsu a little, because her striking is great, and she could come back stronger.
Yeah, I don't necessarily think that this was such a devastating loss for Joanne Calderwood. It's devastating in her hunts for a title shot. She's not going to get an immediate title shot, but Dana White knows that she's down. It was Jennifer Maia's superior jiu-jitsu that basically made Joanne Calderwood look pretty bad on the ground. No knock on Joanne Calderwood, but man, Jennifer Maia, it just speaks to her abilities to armbar the fuck out of you.
Yeah, there is that. It makes up for the fact that she's really boring, but
not Saturday night.
Yeah, I guess.
Not Saturday night. Jennifer Maia, we're very, very impressed. You got a performance of the night bonus. We congratulate you. Shevchenko called you out. Dana White confirmed a title shot in the post-fight press conference.
I picked Joanne Calderwood to win that fight. I'm pissed. Jennifer Maia, go fight Shevchenko and see what happens.
Good luck.
Okay, who do we got next? We have Vicente Luque versus Randy Rude Boy Brown.
Another performance of the night bonus going to Vicente
for
Luque.
We were kind of torn in this fight because Randy Brown is a New York fighter.
Yeah.
A couple of our training partners know him very well, speak really highly of him. On the other hand, we both really like Vicente Luque because that guy's striking is phenomenal. His chin is made of granite. Never in a boring fight, and I'm surprised he hasn't been getting more build than he has. Hopefully, after this performance of the night bonus, they'll give him a big matchup.
Yeah, I mean, I've never seen a boring Vicente Luque fight.
No.
He called out Nate Diaz.
Which they're not going to make that fight.
They're not going to make that fight. I would love to see that
Yeah,
fight. I think that would be an amazing fight, but whatever.
Yeah.
Dana White has no idea what's going on.
No.
That is quite that 170 division is quite the quandary. There is a lot of talent up there, and man, I would hate to be the matchmaker in this situation right now. Moving on to the fight of the night.
And it was the fight of the night.
Yeah, this was a rematch to an absolute war from about 3 years ago. They fought to a draw last time. I'm talking about Bobby Green versus Lando Venata.
They both have really distinctive striking. Lando Venata has that kind of tense, relaxed snap to his striking that I really like, that I used to kind of try to emulate when I was training Kung Fu back in the day. Bobby Green is smooth, fluid, and Saturday night, Bobby Green just beat the brakes off Venata for 3 rounds.
Man, I could watch them fight once a year.
I would watch them fight more than once a year. It was sick.
Yeah, they have such a great matchup. But man, Bobby Green just pulled ahead in this one, and he just showed that he can take over.
Bobby Green, one of the more entertaining lightweights to watch.
Absolutely.
Hopefully he gets a good matchup for his next fight, and I'm looking forward to seeing him.
Yeah.
So, those were the fights on the main card. There was one other fight that was supposed to happen, and now we got to start talking about all the weird bullshit that happened with this card. Trevin Giles was supposed to fight
Holland.
Yeah, Kevin Holland, who I was excited to watch because
Yes.
Kevin Holland talks the entire time he fights. He talks to his cornermen, he talks to his opponent, he talks to the officials. It's ridiculous, but the guy is really good.
Yeah.
Really interesting fighter. And I had been psyched about this match, and Giles fainted on his way to the cage, I think they said.
Yes, this was a very, very last-minute scrap, which you don't really see very often.
No,
But
not.
Times are crazy right now, so what can you expect?
I don't know.
You putting the moves on me?
All the time, baby. But Giles was not the only fighter to have fainted last night. Joanne Calderwood actually fainted after her fight with Jennifer Maia. She fainted while they were checking her out in the back. So that's 2 fighters from the Apex who fainted within a few hours of each other. And I think I want to look into this. This is weird. I'm hearing like X-Files music in my head. There's definitely a conspiracy somewhere, and I'm going to find it out. If there is not one, I will make it up, and I'm going to do a video on it for you.
One other fight that got pulled off, and I was really looking forward to it too. Mr. Ed Herman was supposed to fight Mearshart.
Yes, he was. Mearshart was ill and could not fight. But day of the fight's pulled.
So Ed Herman was very upset about this, and when that happened, he thought he wasn't going to fight. However, when Kevin Holland was left without an opponent, he was immediately looked to Ed Herman and be like, yo, let's do this, even though he's fighting so many weight classes above him.
Called him out on Twitter twice.
Is looking for him.
Yeah, that was an interesting little side note the whole night of the fights. I was like, oh, are they going to make the fight? They did not make the fight, of course.
Yeah.
But that would have been sick.
Had Ed Herman had less time in between him being told he wasn't fighting and Kevin Holland being out of his fight, if there was less time in between, maybe it could have worked, but he was already done. He was already out of it. So there's no disrespect to Ed Herman. I feel like most people would have
not taken that fight either.
Yeah,
and I feel like the commission wouldn't let him fight anyway, so.
But it still made for some compelling Twitter
Yeah, it did.
Twitter reads.
What else? Ray Borg pulled out of his matchup with, I think, no explanation. That's a boss move. It might have something to do with the fact that he was probably going to miss weight, and he has been quoted as saying if he ever misses weight in MMA again, he'll retire from the sport. So maybe you just pull out of the fight and you don't tell anybody why. And then you're like,
or maybe he was
can't
sick.
miss weight if you don't ever step on the scales.
Moving on, we got some beef.
So Herb Dean and Dan Hardy at UFC Vegas got into an altercation.
July 25th.
Thank you. July 25th on Fight Island. And apparently Herb Dean was not stopping fights fast enough for Dan Hardy's liking that night. The fight that really blew up was the Herbert versus Trinaldo fight. Trinaldo laid Herbert out. Herbert kind of collapsed to the canvas, kind of like this. And then Trinaldo just stood over him and was like, yo, I'm gonna blast this guy's head off, but I don't want to. And Herb Dean was like, if he dies, he dies. And he made Trinaldo hit him a few more times. And Dan Hardy freaked out.
He was screaming into his headset, so the people at home could hear what he's saying. He's screaming, stop the fight, stop the fight. He's getting increasingly emotional. Then, because he was so loud, Herb Dean approached him, allegedly. Hardy starts berating him, yelling, and just very emotional.
He's got the headset on.
With the headset still on. So this was definitely not a good look for Hardy. It was not a good look for the UFC. Dana White had some strong words to say about this a few days after. There was another altercation that happened where a fighter pushed a ref. This was in UAE Warriors 12, so not the UFC. So Dana White responded.
He basically said, if anybody who works for him in any capacity approaches or puts their hands on an official, they are fired immediately. A lot of the stuff Dana White says, I think, is bullshit. This, I don't think he's wrong. I'll tell you who I do think are wrong in this situation, though. Dan Hardy and Herb Dean. It's not so bad that he screamed stop the fight. Joe Rogan screams stop the fight all the time. Dana White has screamed stop the fight. That's not that bad. But then he carried on the debate with Dean after the fact. Herb Dean should have stopped the fight earlier. It was a bad stoppage. After that, Herb Dean was upset at Hardy for calling out. He approached Dan Hardy. But you know what, Herb Dean? Don't approach Dan Hardy. Talk to him after the event. Because you're both talking at each other after the event on Twitter anyway. That's what should have been done. I don't think Dan Hardy will be punished going forward. I think Dana White kind of made it clear that this is going forward. Yeah. But it was just a bad look altogether.
Herb Dean hears everything. You could hear breathing. You could hear the other corner. You could hear the commentators. You can hear everything going on because there's no fans.
Yeah.
So this is a very different setting. So Dana White, said that had a lot to do with it. I agree, and I think going forward, people need to just be a little more aware of the acoustics in the room.
Point. That is a good point.
Yeah, all right, moving on. Our final story.
This is my favorite one.
Paige VanZant, because she is talking negotiations with Bare Knuckle FC.
Yeah.
This is all starting from a while back. Her contract was about to expire. So basically, Paige VanZant has said a couple things not in favor of the UFC, such as she doesn't get paid as much from her actual fights versus what she can get offered outside of the UFC. And she's making a very good point, but Dana White immediately squashed it and was like, well, you got smoked in the first round of your last fight. What do you want? And Paige VanZant then also said, well, I'm going to start exploring other options. She's going to start talking to other organizations. Dana White basically is just like, yeah, I want her to explore other options. Bye. After all these words are exchanged, Paige VanZant feels hurt by this. She feels betrayed by Dana. What do you think about all that?
Okay, so I think any fighter who thinks Dana White is their friend is fucking stupid. I think Paige VanZant should start an OnlyFans rather than go fight BKFC. And she has so many better options. She could go to Bellator. She could probably go to Ryzen. She could go to Invicta. I think most of, if not all, the fighters are underpaid in the UFC. What I'm shocked about is that she is surprised that Dana White would publicly speak poorly of her after she brings up her unhappiness with the pay situation, because that's what he does to everybody. The second you start complaining about pay, he fucking shits on you, and he talks shit about your performance and your skill level. This is what White does. Dana White is not your friend.
No, Dana White is your promoter, and I know that sucks because I'm sure he acted like her friend. Why else would she think that she was friends with him?
Her number one asset in terms of making money is not her fighting skill. Why are you gonna go get punched in the face bare knuckle to make a living? Now, if she's just doing this to drum up some hype, that kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
Could she be trying to fight Beck Rawlings?
That'd be cool.
Knuckle? I would watch that, and then she should get the fuck out of there.
The message is just getting lost in all of this madness. Paige VanZant is making a lot of valid points.
Mm-hmm.
She gets paid by sponsors and brand deals and other things more than the UFC, which is the Super Bowl of MMA.
Yes,
no?
it is. Yeah, they always say that.
Yeah. She's a professional athlete, and she has to go seek income elsewhere. And she was one of the top stars. She was headlining fight nights before she even turned like 23, right? Something like that. What professional sports organization that claims to be the Super Bowl of said sport has their fighters having second jobs?
Yo, if you are a ranked UFC fighter and you have to have a second job because you can't afford to pay off your house, take care of your family, buy a car,
begging for bonuses,
that's fucking crazy. There is no way she should go to Bare Knuckle FC, but if she does, I will watch the shit out of it.
Hell yeah.
OnlyFans, BKFC. I'm just saying, Claudia Daly is charging people $50 a month to get on her OnlyFans. Paige VanZant, you have other options.
Well, something to think about, because you know you're totally watching this and totally taking our advice.
Definitely watching.
So what do you guys think about the fights last night? What do you think about the news that's going on right now? Sound off in the comments below. Let us know your thoughts.
How much do you think Paige VanZant should charge monthly for her OnlyFans account?
I don't know anything about OnlyFans.
I was asking them.
Oh.
I'm going to start one, baby. So we're going to get new equipment and everything.
All right. On that note, thank you guys for watching. If you like what you see, please give us a subscribe.
Subscribe.
And we'll see you in our next video.